could hear you.
I_M_Z0 rated with 5 views.
Lovely shot.
Homodrock is now following.
Sick. I just wanted to let that drop finish out. Hello everybody, how's everybody doing today? Today we are going to be doing a very special stream, which I'm very excited for. We are going to be breaking down my song The Council from Purgatory EP. Why is chat up there? Chat, you go down here. Okay. So how's everyone doing today, first of all? Why is it cutting out your badges? Hang on, there we go. Perfect. Gucci, glad to hear that. I am very glad to hear that. Let me pull up the chat on my phone. How did your game go, Zero? I need to know. How did it go? Didn't get to fight all the bosses today. We need more planning. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I hope it goes well. I will definitely stop by next time. Let me just get chat on my phone. Alright, so for those who do not know, I'm going to be taking the VOD of this and hopefully just like making a few cuts and uploading it to YouTube. And when it goes up on YouTube, there's actually a very special surprise for you guys. I will be giving away pretty much every single audio sample from this song for you guys to mess around with, because I think that everything... I feel like all the samples in this song have a lot of potential to be used in your own way, so I'm really excited for that. So this is the project file. You guys can see both my playlist and my channel rack and mixer and all that, you know. So honestly, how do you guys feel about just like letting the song play through once and then we'll break it down? I'm gonna go from intro to midsection to build to drop, all that. So yeah, let's do that. So if you have not heard it, here is the song The Council.
You got fired, so you drowned your sorrows in booze. She had to get a part-time job working a grocery store cash register. Only reason she could earn a wage at all is the manager liked how she looked in a skirt. You remember, right? Exactly 10 months back. Got fired, so you drowned your sorrows in booze. 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 You remember, right? You got fired, so you drowned your sorrows in booze. She had to get a part-time job working a grocery store cash register. Only reason she could earn a wage at all is the manager liked how she looked in a skirt. You remember, right? Exactly 10 months back. You got fired, so you drowned your sorrows in booze. Booze. Booze.
Perfect. So that is the song The Council. So the main inspirations from this song were I really wanted to go something by I'm sure you all know the artist Jikwi. And I think Jikwi is an amazing artist. I was trying to go something kind of in his style. I wanted something a little bit more minimalistic. I wanted something really dark, really gritty, and I wanted the main elements, the main bass elements, to be very percussion heavy. I wanted it to be very plucky, very transient heavy, and that's exactly what I did. So I'll start with the intro, which is very, very simple. So you just have a kick from the drop. I went for very simple and minimalistic drums. So I just was able to use the same kick from the drop on the intro. Although if you're doing very big and like heavy wide drums, I would definitely use a different sample. But I just used the decap kick, so it just sounds like this. I was able to use that and layer it with a bunch of impacts. So impacts were another huge important aspect of this song, which I will get to when we get to the drop. But for now, I have, you know, your typical cashmere. I have a clap layer in here. I have like that sword layer. So when you play all of these together, you know, it kind of makes a whole, it's a giant impact. It's basically just a handmade impact, to be completely honest. So underneath of this, I have a texture for just the intro. You see this is not used anywhere else in the song. And this is recorded myself. So I made this own rack a long time ago. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys actually, because it's really cool. File, let's see, it's called texture. Here it is. So the rack looks like this. There's an OTT to make stuff louder. And just more compressed and like bring up all the frequencies that I want. And then I have a things texture. I have a crystallizer with a preset on it, and an EQ, and I just had an Edison to record it. But when you talk into it, you get ooh. Again, that didn't work, but it's fine. But basically, whenever you put anything through this rack, it sounds so weird. Let me just take like literally any sample. You know what? We're gonna take the kick drum and put it through there. So if I just reroute it to this channel, this is what the kick sounds like without that. And then if I put it through that rack. Basically infinite possibilities. So I absolutely love that rack. And I'm really happy with it. So I literally a long time ago I just sat down and I just started like recording random sounds into it. I would just take my mouth, I would just rate random sounds. I would laugh, I would do a bunch of stuff. And I ended up getting this texture layer, which I added into the intro to give it a more sinister, creepy, offsetly, like just a terrifying atmosphere. So it sounds like this. So it's really, really simple. This is why I definitely think that you can keep things simple, but you can make it very effective and terrifying, which is what I was going for. And honestly, I think that I will get to like final conclusions at the end, but I definitely think if you have one takeaway from this entire breakdown, I want you to realize that songs don't need to be overly complicated. You don't need infinite layers. You can keep things simple, but still have it be effective. So, and by the way, to my chat, if you guys have any questions at any point, please feel free to ask, and I will answer them. I am willing to give. I don't believe in the whole like keeping secrets to myself. I believe in like helping the community. So if you guys have any question whatsoever, I will ask it. I will answer it to the best of my abilities. Jesus, I cannot talk today. But yeah, that's just one layer. And another layer is, well, there's two more layers to it. There's these two things. So these are not samples. I bounced them out to audio. They are from this one plugin called, is it even in here? I might not even have it in here. Oh, it is. This thing. So I found this on Plugin Boutique one time. Me and Rick were looking together and we found it. And it was an instant buy. There's a free version, but basically it has a bunch of samples. I don't know how to pronounce it. Mandela, I think, or something like that. But it has a bunch of different presets that you can choose from. And I literally just took the root note, which I believe in this song is C sharp. Let me just double check that. Because here's the drop 808 sound. And I have it playing the root note. So yeah, C sharp is the root key. So I just had, or is the root note. So I just had it playing the root note. And I checked two of the presets from in here. I think Bells was one of them or something like that. And I just bounced them out to audio. So it's really simple, but these two in the beginning right here, these two are pitched down an octave. So normally the presets sound like this. But down here I bounced them. I put them down an octave. So these two sounds are terrifying, and I love them so much. So the first layer you have is this one. I believe this is the Bells one, which you can literally hear it like rolling around from left to right. Just that texture. It was exactly what I was looking for with this song. I wanted an intro that was just terrifying like that, and I thought that was a really good way to keep that atmosphere. And then this is the other one. This one reminds me of something from a horror game, some sort of like pulsating pad thing. So, but yeah, I just pitched it down, stretch pro. Oh, I pitched it down twice actually. So I pitched the performance down and I pitched the normal pitch down. So it's like really, really deep. And I think I did that on this one as well. No, this one's just normal stretch, but you know, you get the idea. I pitched them down was the main point. So yeah, that's really the entire intro. I have this Cashmere string riser sample, which, you know, can't go wrong with string risers. Oh, that's sidechain. Of course there's sidechain. So that just helped carry the tension. And that's pretty much all there is to this intro right here. It's really basic, but it worked out well for me. So once you get to the main aspect, I don't think that sneeze. Oh my god, freaking Zero. I thought that was because the sneeze is a sample in the song. I thought that was from the song. I'm like, I don't remember the sneeze being there. I can't. This is why I can't do this live. But yeah, so that's pretty much the entire intro. And it goes into the section. So, okay. For more impacts, I have that sweep. And then I have the clap again, I believe. And then I have like the sword sheath sound. Gotcha, it was only the one. No, you're fine, you're fine. It was just funny to me. But I wanted to keep it going. So what I did was I took some ambience and added to it to fill up the frequencies, you know? Because I wanted these first few bars to be empty, more empty compared to these bars over here. So, with the ambience, I also added this Cashmere cymbal crash. So, you know, pretty basic stuff. But the other big element is literally just this one sample. I bounced this out from YouTube. I'm going to be 100% honest. But it's from the game PT. If you guys have not played it, you cannot play it anymore. You cannot play it anymore, sadly, because it was taken off. It was a playable demo, is what it stands for, and it's a really, really good horror game, and I would definitely go watch somebody play it, because it is very good. But there is this fetus baby that has these lines that are just really weird and out of place, and it's terrifying. So I'm like, perfect, I'll add it.
You got fired, so you drowned your sorrows in booze. She had to get a part-time job working a grocery store cash register. Only reason she could earn a wage at all is the manager liked how she looked in a skirt. You remember, right? Exactly 10 months back.
It just worked. I'm gonna be completely honest. I did like a little radio effect, so I just cut it. I cut out all the high ends and all the lows just to give it like a radio effect. It's completely mono. I didn't even do much to it, so it just worked. I threw it in and it worked. So happy accidents exist. Most of my music is just a happy accident, but this is a perfect example of that. And that's pretty much the entire intro. So that's this entire section and this one.
You got fired, so you drowned your sorrows in booze. She had to get a part-time job working a grocery store cash register.
Thanks, Ash. Everybody's sneezing on me today. So yeah, that's pretty much the entire intro. Let's get to the build-up. Oh, hang on. I didn't mean to do that. I think the Edison is still going. Over here, probably. Yeah, it's fine. I have a habit of saving my projects, and so I went to go save it, and I didn't need to. Anyways, so the build-up, also very simple. But something I actually took from a Jikwi song. So, as I said before, I was using Jikwi as a kind of like a inspiration for this song. And I saw something that he did that was really cool to me. Is he used hi-hats for his main building element for the build-up. And I thought that was insanely cool. So I definitely tried to do that myself. So I only have the kicks and the downbeats. And then I have the hi-hats kind of carry the build. So that was something that I got from Jikwi, and I thought it was a super cool way to, like, you know, keep the minimalistic feel. So I didn't want to have like a very big, you know, build up. I wanted to do something different, so I did that instead. I have a cashmere string riser. Just have that same one again. And then this is my signature riser. I made this a long time ago, but I pretty much use it in every single project ever. But it works, and honestly, it's not too repetitive, so I'm okay with it. It's this sound. I still use that in like every project today. And then, you know, the same impacts, I just layered them with the kick drum. And then I have the same exact ambiances. Although, in the second half, I start to pitch them up. Actually, it's just this one that I pitch up. But that was still terrifying to me, so I kept it. And then there's one final layer that I have. I have my own handcrafted riser. It's super basic. I included it in the sample pack that you guys can all get when the YouTube video comes out. But let me just find it for you. Here it is. Okay, literally just a sine wave and a rig mod. And I modulated it. But it's a great layer to everything else. Don't want it too loud, obviously. Pierces your ears, but you know. And that's pretty much the entire intro. I have two of the percussion basses just kind of play notes.
All is the manager liked how
That's just basically like getting the listeners to hear bits of the drop, and then when the drop comes, it's not a complete surprise to them. They kind of have a little bit of the rhythm. But I didn't want to give them the entire thing, because I definitely wanted the rhythm to surprise them. But, you know, they have, like, some semblance of what it's going to be. So, yeah, that's pretty much this entire build-up for you.
all is the manager liked how she looked in a skirt. You remember, right? Exactly 10 months back.
And that's it. Okay. Drop time. So far, that's the very basics of the intro. It was super simple, but it's drop time. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. I will answer them. But yeah, so there was also the Phasmophobia sneeze. I had to. I needed to, I wanted to use that sound for so long as a pre-drop because it was just perfect, and this was the exact right song for it. Sneeze. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so drop time. This is what the drop sounds like. I'm gonna go from top to bottom. I'm gonna go drums, effects, mids, vocals, and then sub. But wait, hang on. Did I just read that right? How come I can pee without pooping, but I can't poop without peeing? You said any questions? I did say any questions. You know what? I feel like you probably could poop without peeing if you just work at it. You just gotta practice. I don't think you're good at it. I think you need to be better. Just be better. There we go. Anyways, drop time.
You got fired, so you drowned your sorrows in.
Cool. Okay. So that's basically a little teaser of what it sounds like. So, drums are very minimal, but I did something that I was really happy with in this song. And I feel like a lot of songs don't have very many dynamics, but I thought since I was going for a minimal feel with this song, I wanted to add a lot more dynamics by having the drums build on themselves over time. So, basically, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare, basic pattern. But I have the hi-hats start very basic, and then they get more complex. Something else you might hear. Well, I'll break that and I'll show you in a second. And then hi-hats get more complicated. And then so basically the hi-hat rhythm gets more complicated over time. And yes, the trickle in the back is this fully sample. It's a bike wheel. I added reverb to it. I'm a bit curious on how music works. What fundamentals did you learn first? Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. I started with house music. I picked up FL Studio. I saw some dude using it, and I was like, "Hey, what program are you using?" He's like, "FL Studio," and I looked it up, and I found that they had a free trial, and I taught myself ground up. I didn't know anything, but I liked electronic music, and I started with house music. And I'm gonna be completely honest. I love helping people start from nowhere. I think that anybody has potential to make music if they want to. But yeah, I really started from ground up. But something I highly suggest to people that they do not take to their full advantage is YouTube. I know that sounds stupid, and I feel like you've probably heard that before if you're anywhere in the music industry, but YouTube is your friend. You can find so much on YouTube from just watching people make music. I personally love watching people make music. I watch live streams of people making music. I watch YouTube videos all the time, and I always try and learn from it, and I try to incorporate it into my own music. Something else that is really helpful is listening to other people's songs and really paying attention to little things in the songs, and then putting it into your own music, in your own way. And that's kind of what this song was for me, is kind of taking people's tricks that they've done before and then using it in my own way and my own style. And I think I did a really good job at that. Okay, so drums. There's a kick, and then there's a last layer on top of the kick and the snare, just to add some transient, add some more high end and everything. And the snare. They're all decap samples, but they work really well. So that layer, and that layer, just a little bit off sync. You hear if it's on beat, it works, but having it a little bit off beat kind of gives it a little bit more like texture and flow, which I liked a lot. I believe the processing on these is like really, really basic. Yeah, there's some EQs just to cut all the low end. Because I did not sidechain, as you can see. I only sidechained the kick drum. I did not sidechain from the snare drum in this song. So I cut out all the sub in the snare, a little bit of the high ends, and then there were some peaks I had to take out from, you know, stuff. You don't want those peaks that literally pierce your ears, and then, oh my god, this is just a blank EQ. Nice. But, you know, pretty minimal processing on the snares. God. Yeah. But, as you will see, the snare changes in tonality over here. And that was something that I wanted to do to keep the drums progressing, keep things interesting. I just took, I believe it's this sample. Yeah. And I pitched it up. I think I pitched up 7 cents. Yeah, that makes sense. I pitched up 7 because now it's playing the 7 from the original snare. And in the sample pack, I give you both of those. Hi-hats are very basic, you know, some more decap samples. Something that I like to do, that I don't think a lot of people do, is most people will take the hi-hat and then just place it on all of the beats like this. And it sounds fine, but it sounds bland to me. And as you will hear, what I did is I took the second one and I turned it down a little bit. So I made it unique. I turned it down and I pulled up the out to make it a little bit tighter. So basically, instead of just 1, 2, 3, 4, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's adding a lot more dynamics to it. And then over here, I layer the sample with a lower hi-hat. And then I add in another hi-hat. I add in this one right here, which is a VR sample, you know. And then I added even more offbeat samples to keep the groove going, you know. And then I had the same crash. And then the bike wheel I talked about earlier. And those are pretty much the entire drums. You can hear how they evolve over time. But yeah, pretty basic. Another thing I want to touch on is that this song was very minimal, as I've gone over a bunch of times. So I had these impacts that I mentioned about in the intro. I have them in the drop as well. So here are the effects layers, and you'll hear that there's a lot going on to basically fill up the space that I wasn't taking with the drop. There are a lot of samples going on here that you may not realize if you're not paying attention. So I mean, the basic stuff, but there's a lot going on. So there's an alarm, you know, that's kind of your classic alarm sound. Nothing new there. There's a downer, just a white noise. I have the string riser again. I have this impact with the clap layered and the sword layer. And then I have this white noise thing. This is something I made myself. I took white noise from Serum and I added some sort of filter to it, and I have it in my own samples. And I just layered this to give it some pacing. And you'll hear that it works with the basses. And then this is also just a little reverse thing that I made myself from, like, I believe that was just like an FL, I'm pretty sure that was just a stock FL Studio clap. And I took it and I added some reverb and I did some stuff to it. And I still have been using these samples for a while. Cashmere sample. Just a nice little riser there. And then a little offbeat breath thing. Honestly, it's all really simple, but it's a lot. So I think that's a really important thing of keeping up this frequency spectrum. Okay, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. I know that every single one of you is out here like, how did he do the basses? I want to know about the basses. Here are the basses. You might be a little bit underwhelmed by how simple they are. There are very few layers, but let me just solo you all of the basses. Ash, these aren't wubs. These aren't wubs, but sure. Okay, so for the bases, the only thing I sound designed in this project really was this layer. That was a serum. That's like the only serum I have in this entire project besides like the sub bass maybe. So, it's a really simple patch. I'm using FM. I'm using the monster wavetable. I love the monster wavetables in here. But you know, just standard FM. I have a band pass. That's giving it a lot about tonality. You know, distortion, wideness. But I like to do a lot of my post-processing in here instead of in Serum. So you'll hear without all of the effects, it sounds kind of pathetic. So what I have in here is a frequency shifter. This is back when I used Melda. Just, you know, normal frequency shifter stuff. So without it, it's like higher in tonality and then lower in tonality. Wave shipper, distort it, more distortion. EQ to clean it up a little bit. I didn't want as many highs. I wanted to get rid of those muddy low ends. A delay. Can you do a Skrillex? This is a Skrillex. I don't know what you're talking about. More distortion. That blood overdrive really brings all the tonality out. And then cutting all the sub because I have a separate sub. And that's really like the only thing I sound design in this entire project. I know that sounds stupid, but that's about it. Because the main plucky sounds are da 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 da. They are snares. I am dead serious. So this is just a snare with a ton of post-processing and layered with a lower version. So the basses are literally just snares. So without the post-processing, you kind of get the same groove, but you just don't have all the same characteristics and tonality. So layers, lots and lots of layers. Not even layers. No, there's just 2 layers. But a ton of post-processing. Who broke their legs? That is genuinely the Minecraft falling sound. I don't know why. I think I was going through game samples and I was like, I need a filler bass. And I just threw in the Minecraft sound and it kind of worked. So I'll get to that in a second. There's some really funny stuff. I don't know why, but I end up having like a lot of memes in a lot of my songs. Even though they're like serious songs, I just have like, you know, the Minecraft breaking leg song. I don't know why. I distorted it though, obviously. Like that's what it sounds like normally, but you know, I had to add the distortion and make it wide, and so now it sounds like, you know, like that. Legit, the fact that it's legit, the fact that it's subtle, effective, and a meme at the same time makes it that much more oppressive. You're so right. Hang on, I will show you. You guys are gonna get mad at me. There's a effect in the vocal bus, which you'll see. But let me just break down the bass first. So I kind of want to show off these effects because it took a lot of like fiddling around, but it definitely ended up working. So let me just turn them all off manually and I will show them to you. So the first thing I did, apparently, this has been a long time since I've seen this project, I boosted the resonance right here. I wanted these to really punch through. I wanted these to hit instead of just, I feel like whenever you're doing punchy sounds, if they're really high, they often don't really hit nearly as hard without that like low subby bass and or sub like the low mid bass. So I boosted the mid bass and I gave it like a resonant peak. And then obviously some distortion. And whenever you distort a resonant peak, whenever you take a resonant peak and then you put it right into a distortion, you get a bunch of cool artifacts, which I was trying to go for. I have another distortion. And then another thing adding a ton of tonality, I believe, is this vocodex. So you hear how that's adding like a really watery layer. I only have it at 50% though, because I really want this punching through. Remember that. I have a frequency shifter. Honestly, I just messed around with it. It's negative 200. I'm sure anybody could find that. But another thing that I found that did a lot of the work, Phasis. This is a plugin by, I believe it's Native Instruments. Yeah, Native Instruments. It's a phaser, and I need to use it more often because it works really well. So that's what it sounds like with it. Without it, it's giving it a little bit more water, a little bit more stereo imaging. It's really cool in my opinion. Baby Come Back. If you do not have this plugin, get this plugin. It is completely free. It is so good. I just have it doing a very short delay, but it is adding so much width. Honestly, that's where like a lot of the sound comes from. And then I just put that through an OTT with, you know, it's actually pretty high because it's a pretty minimal project. And then I have another frequency shifter. I believe this is for like switches. Yeah. So down here, you see I turn it on in the second half of the song for a frequency shift. For a frequency shift. So it's like that's a switch basically. Baby Come Back is a delay plugin, or does it have multiple different effects? So it is mainly just a delay plugin, but you have different presets to choose from. So you can have a wide preset, which is what I use all the time. There's an analog preset, which that sounds really cool as well. There's a lot of really cool presets, but I wanted the stereo imaging on this one, so I have the wide preset, but you can do a lot with it. So it's just a really good delay, and I use it all the time. And then a reverb. I believe this is just a reverb throw. No, this is just a reverb, not even a reverb throw. Very short, small size. It kind of acts as the delay, but like a little bit different. And that's the entire bass layers, really. So I have, this is one note. So you can hear that it's like bum bum. That's just 1 2, and then I have these ones higher up. So I believe I pitched this one up. Yeah, 3. I pitched it up 3 semitones. So I have that go up to this, but I have the main bass layer stay the same as that. So you hear how this is. This is like a lower note. And this is the bass note, and then this is a higher note, and the same bass note. So basically just messed around with the rhythms and like repitched everything. So, and it's different tonality because of the frequency shifter. It's just whatever. This filler sound is just a sample. It's just a percussion roll, but I had it do a lot of the flow. As you can tell, there's a frequency shifter on it, so without the effects, it's very quiet. Frequency shifted it down, added some distortion, and that's the entire sound. So, and then you have the Minecraft sound, which I already told you guys about, and then you have this little bass sample, which is from my own sample pack. I have my own personal sample pack of a bunch of different sounds. I believe I cut up the sample. Yeah. That's just what the sample is. And I just took a little bit of it. And then over here is... And you can hear how those are like in there. I just cut it out. So honestly, even though something might sound like garbage, I promise you, there's normally a use for it. But yeah. So those are pretty much the entire bass layers. It's just repeating that same rhythm because it's rhythm, you know. And then on top of that are some chords because I felt like it felt a little bit empty and it needed something taking up the stereo imaging. It needed something really wide, something higher in the high end frequency. So why not strings? very simple strings, but they are very effective. So I just have it playing. So the key is just a C sharp. I think it's C sharp minor harmonic. So I just have it going up and down. So C is the root note the entire time, and I just have it playing the G sharp and then down to the F. And I wanted some like dissonant chords. So you can see that this one is like pretty major, and then this one's pretty dissonant. And it just switches between the two. So there's just, I believe these are just contact strings. Yeah, there's normal contact strings. And I believe there's also a contact choir on top of it. There is. And the post-processing is very minimal. Those are pretty balanced because I believe I did something at the end where I just automated it. But just a normal EQ, OTT to bring it out more. But very, very basic stuff. I have the chords go up an octave, I believe, over here at the second half of the song. Yeah, I just have an octave. So, because, like I said, I wanted this song to progress over time. So, along with the drums changing, I changed some stuff with the background elements. Okay. Over here, this is just a frequency shifter. And I added a sustain as well. So I did lie. Sorry. There are 2 serum patches besides the 808. I made the sustain as well. But this is like the most basic sustain you can ever make. I will teach you guys a trick. A little trick with serum. And I use this trick all the time. FM from B, you have a saw wave. Then on the FM, you have another saw wave, and you FM that from sub. And then the sub, you have a square wave. You can change the octave. And you get different cool sounds. You can change this octave. But I literally have no post-processing. You can do a ton with this. You could add an LFO, and then you could have it be like a tonality base. I do this all the time. And then you take an OTT, or you take a compressor, and you just give it some stereo imaging or something. There's, yeah, Portal Gun in a nutshell. That is exactly right. So yeah, very, very basic patch, but it worked really well in this song, so I kept it. And I have it in mono. So I didn't even, I turned it on mono just to make sure, and I just cut out all the low end, because, you know, normally you get some low end. You don't really need that. So, super, super, super simple patch. So, that's about it for the basses. There's, these are the same basses, just a different flow. Another sound from my own personal, this is just my own sound that I have bounced out. I had it from a different song. Like, I think it's a really, really old song that I took it from, but I made it work, so. I don't even think there's any post-processing. Yeah, just a little bit of EQ. So, you know, that's another thing that I think that you guys should all take from this, is that it is good to make your own sample packs and use them in all your songs. It gives you a little bit of, like, it gives you something for the listeners to, like, hold on to. They have, like, a sense of your own sound. And it also is just easier for production. You can just drag in your own samples and they just work. Oh yeah, there's also this, that's literally just a horn sample from Kashmir. But I cut it and I pitched it. And I have a tuner just to make sure it's playing the right notes. And there's a little bit of distortion, but like, that's it. Okay, there are also some chants going underneath of all of this. Very basic stuff, but I want to play this for you because I feel like you guys are going to find this hilarious. So,
You got fired, so you drowned your sorrows in booze.
did you guys hear it? Maybe not. Yeah, it is. It is. I don't know why I added it, but it's It's in there. And you can, the funny thing is now that you guys have heard it once, you can actually hear it in the song. So it's very quiet, but I promise you it's in there and you can hear it. It's not even an Easter egg. I just layered it. I mean, it is an Easter egg, but I just layered it and it just kind of worked. So I kept it. Normal chant, and then another normal chant, and then. So yeah. And then I have the fetus baby come back, and I have the sample. Such a cool sample. It just worked really well. And then 808 time. 808 is the carrying driving force for this entire song. And the whole goal with this was to make it very low. It's playing a C sharp. You don't see a C sharp in dubstep very often. You see a C sharp in like rap music a good amount, actually, I believe, if I'm right. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like I've seen it a good amount. But I was like, you know what? Let's just make an 808. And so I sound designed my own 808. So it sounds like this. It's actually very basic. So I took an analog sine wave. I turned the wavetable all the way up to add more harmonics. I have bright white. I pitched it up a little bit. And I added some soft clipping in there. So just the serum patch sounds like this. And then once I turn on the post-processing, literally just took a camel crusher, distorted it. The tube is halfway, compression's halfway. I turned off the fat mode because that's just I don't need that much. That EQ is doing very little. This one is getting rid of everything in the middle, which is good because I wanted this to be a very clean 808. And this is just doing that again, controlling the highs, and then a wave shaper just to make it nice and loud and crunchy. Also, you can probably tell there is like a little rise to it, and then there's also a fall to it. So this is just a volume automation. So, and then this is just a global master tuning, so it falls every single jump. And then yeah. Over here, oh, I forgot I did that. So I wanted the 808 to hit a little bit harder in the second drop, so I kind of made it do a little bit of a slide, like a way-wah kind of a thing. And yeah, honestly, this is just from the intro, this transition right here. It's just the intro sounds. The one getting pitched up. And it's layered with Lisa laughing. Also from PT, the game. Very good game, check it out. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire drop. So any questions on that, I'm free to answer it. And this is just a copy paste. I'm going to be 100% honest. This is the same exact thing as this, but it worked. It was simple and I kept it that way. Even the vocals the same. I thought about changing it, but I was like, you know what? It works, and if it works, I'm going to keep it that way. Third drop. And if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them still. I will answer them. I promise. So, third drop is very, very, very similar. The only difference is that I took the strings to the next level, and I had them do that fake out that I'm sure you all heard. The one that goes like this. Oh, hang on. There's sidechain. Let's try that again. The one that goes like this. What kind of post-processing did you do for the whole track? After this part. Yes. I'm pretty. If you just mean my master, it's very. It's just a soft clipper. Soft clipper, and then I always have this on my default master. I have a little dip in the low ends and the low mids and the bass, just because that often tends to build up there. I learned this from Fox Stevenson. That frequency often ends to build up and muddy up the entire mix. There's no reason for you to have that unless you're doing a very specific thing. So I just keep that on my master when I'm producing. So when I open up my template, it just has these two, and I did not touch it for this song. Like, my master was super basic. And then yeah, so the fake out was just the strings. Hang on, there we go. Let's try this again. So the inspiration for this fake out was Muerte. You probably heard his Roundtable EP. Very good EP. Roundtable, been kind of lacking. Muerte EP, very good. But I loved his whole string aesthetic, and so I tried to do a fake out kind of like that. And I think I did a pretty good job at it, and keeping it original as well with the whole bass processing. So really, it's exactly the same, except for I cut out some of the samples, and I have the drums cut out, and I just have it play the strings. So it goes like this.
You got fired, so you...
That's the exact same drop as the first drop, just with the strings being the main focus. And I did change a little bit with the 808. I had the 808 play a different pattern, so it goes higher up. Hang on. The 808's higher now, and it gets higher in the second half as well. So you see that like down here, it's playing just C's, or C sharps and D sharps, but now it's playing D sharps and it's going up higher. So basically the sub is rising and it's adding some more tension. The second half of this phrasing with the strings is just this exact same thing. You see this little fake out thing? I took that, I copied it over here, and I slowed it down. You see how those line up? That's because it's the exact same thing. Honestly though, I thought it was a really cool layer, and this is the same drop as the first drop, just with that on top. This section is just the falling section. I just wanted to go, I want it to fall down and then go back up into this chord. So it's falling 1, 2, 3, 4, and then chord, chord, resolution. And that's the entire song really. Like if you listen. I think I moved it. I moved it a little bit, but you get the idea. Sorry, it's off. It was offbeat. It's fine. Oh, did I move everything? Whatever. Okay. Listen, I screwed up the project file in the process of showing you guys it, but you get the idea. That's literally the entire thing. It's very little theory, honestly. I appreciate it, but no, it's very, very little theory. I moved everything though, because I like to zoom in and out with the scroll wheel, and I will accidentally hover over something and move it like that, and it's fine. But yes, there's a tiny bit of theory, I guess if you want to call it that. But really, this song is very basic from top to bottom, and I wanted to show you guys that. There is some like automation going on. I wanted the strings to be louder in the second drop than in the first drop. This is just a, it's some very basic stuff is the whole point. The frequency shifter is just like a switch, and this is, I don't even know what this is for. It's a formant shift. Oh, okay. Whatever. You get the point. Everything was very basic in this entire song, and if I can do it, I promise you that you can do it too. The entire, like, the main aspect of the song is a snare drum. This is just a rim shot. You can do that, I promise. So, I'll give you guys a minute to ask any final questions if you have any final questions. I'm really open to answering anything. YouTube, there is going to be a link in the description for you to download the sample pack. It is going to be 100% free, and I really hope that it helps you guys, because I think that there is a lot of potential in a lot of these samples that I'm giving away. You can just resample them. Like, honestly, if you think about it, my whole process with this was resampling. I took other people's audios and I made them my own, and now I'm giving you guys that chance to do that as well. I'm letting you guys take some of my own audio, and I'm letting you resample it to be your own. So, unless you guys have any questions, I think that's about it. there's really no mastering. It's just clipping into the soft clipper. The stereo field and I did use span and ozone to like make sure that the stereo field looked good and the frequency spectrum was filled, but other than that, it's a very, very basic song. But oh yeah, I also made it in like very little time. Hang on, project info. 6 hours and 30 minutes is what I have on it right now. But I can promise you that at least an hour or maybe an hour and a half of it was just having it sit there in the background. So I made this song like 5 hours realistically. I just sat down and I just put it all together in one sitting. So yeah. I'll give you guys a minute to ask any questions, but other than that, I think that's about it. Just want to make sure nobody has any questions. Hang on. So you didn't really need to do anything in terms of maximizing for the mastering? No, I did not. So I like to clip into my master. So when it comes to mastering, what you hear is what I made, is like what I worked with. I adjust the levels as I put stuff in. And if I think that something is too loud, I will turn it down manually. Like if I'm producing and I have this one shot, if I had that volume all the way up here, you can hear it's way too loud. Like I would turn it down like that. I don't know. It's very, very basic. Yeah, I didn't really do anything for mastering. I think that a lot of people overthink it. I just mix as I go, and that ends up working out for me. So yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. It was really fun having people be able to hear the Minecraft oof sound. You know, all those funny little jokes. But I hope you guys found it interesting. I hope you learned from it, and I hope the sample pack helps. And I guess I'll end it here. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming by, and I hope you have a wonderful night. See you later.